Right. So, okay. Right. Can everyone see my screen now? Hello? Hello, can everyone see my screen?
Yes, just
Yes,
Chisom,
we can see your screen. We can see your screen.
Thank you. So we'll be going over these current projects and we'll be talking about it, and everyone who's supposed to be involved will be saying one or two things. We'll be talking about where we are and what's going to happen and things like that. So the first project, we have the First Bank Insurance Integration, and this project was assigned to Evaristos. This project is ongoing. So Evaristos, please, can you say one or two things? Where are we? What has been achieved? Where are we now? And where are we going to?
Okay, so good afternoon once again, everybody. So for the First Bank Insurance project, we're working with First Bank. First Bank are like an insurance aggregator. Apologies, there are noise in my background. I'm still with kids around. So we were actually working with Leadway Insurance, who are actually partners of First Bank Insurance. So conversation had advanced to the point where we were at the point of sharing APIs, and then I think Leadway had like a total overhaul of their entire team who were interacting with, and then the guy who was driving the project from First Bank had resigned. So when the new guy came on board, and then Leadway came up with a new team, the whole conversation we had gone back to, like, it was more or less we made 10 steps forwards and then 20 steps backward, because we had agreed on what the product was going to be like, pricing and everything. But then when the new Leadway Insurance team came on board, they just started questioning everything. And we were just at that point where, so we had a meeting with myself, Mr. Moody, sometime last year with the new project manager driving the project from First Bank, and he had pulled in the new guys from Leadway Insurance. So that's basically where that project was. It was more or less we were discussing product again, and it didn't make sense to us. So I think Mr. Moody will be in the best of position to see if we're going ahead with this project for the year 2023, or we're just leaving it behind and focusing on other. Or I'll just say Mr. Moody would give priority, would define what the priority is going to be like for the project for 2023.
Okay.
So that's it.
Okay, so hang on, guys. Let's do it this way. Do we have everybody expected on this call right now?
Simi will be joining us later.
Who will be joining us? Who will be joining us later?
Simi.
Okay.
Collins will be joining around 4.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. So what I want us, okay, I'll just do like a small guide for this. Chisom, well done. What will be happening is I want you guys at the, I think so it would have been nice if I had received this before now. But Chisom, if you don't mind, can you share this link with me? If you don't mind. So what I would like us to do now, though, is we're going to be going over these projects, but before we start proper, I'm going to say welcome to 2023. It's been great working with you guys, and I believe we can do more. Well done to everyone. Well done to pulling your weight. People who didn't pull their weight, we see you. I see you if nobody else sees you. And I'll say that I think there's so much more we can do. Now, one of the things I would like us to keep in mind, in this session is speed is the watchword for 2023. we have to move with a lot of speed. Some things don't make me happy, and literally it just all boils down to speed. So we'll go over the projects. We'll take those projects one after the other. Then afterwards, we're going to be having breakout sessions. Essentially, I would like us to be able to sort of think through the entire social lender product. Thank you, Chisom. Think through the entire social lender product, the strategies, think about, what the future should look like, what your ideas are like, and better still, even if it is just a one pager that you're opening on your screen, it doesn't have to be a clean document, but I would like everybody to please open a one pager and just put their ideas down that we'll be sharing in the breakout sessions. What will happen is I'll hop from one room to the other when those breakout sessions start. The other thing is I've forgotten the last bit I was going to mention. Okay, yeah. So at this point again, we also commiserate with Okpe. It's been a very hard couple of, well, more than a few weeks now for him. So everybody, please send your love to him. It's been a very difficult period for him, and I'm hoping that while his extended family, somehow we can reach out to him and send him our comfort. So we can go ahead, and thank you guys.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ma. So are we going into the breakout rooms now, or after we've gone over this project?
It's best to go through
I
the
was
project
muted.
to make sure everybody is sort of high level aware of what the projects are, what the issues were, and all of that. Based on the numbers, it will be best to do 2 breakout rooms. So I guess Okpe should be in one group and then Evaristos in another. And it's probably best to make sure that everyone sort of has high level understanding of what the projects are, what social lender is generally, what the social lender set out to achieve, and all of that before we go into the breakout room. If we're all comfortable, we are aware of all of that, then we can go in the breakout room.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. So I would be sharing my screen. I will just be going over the projects, and the persons that these projects are assigned to will just say 1 or 2 things about what the project is all about. And yes, breakout rooms. I will create the breakout rooms now. Okay, I'm sharing my screen.
While they're doing so, I think Okpe can go ahead so that we don't waste any time. We literally have just started, and it's 44 minutes into the hour.
Also, my
Okay.
video is off because everybody else's video is off. These meetings are better with videos on, but it's the social lender management call.
All right, can we all turn our videos on? This is supposed to be a video call. Let's do well to put our video on. This should be a video call. Thank you very much. So Evaristos has said something about the First Bank insurance integration, and I don't know if Mr. Moody have anything to say on that. So Evaristos, I would need you to say, like, what is First Bank insurance integration? What's the project all about? So if you can just say what the project is all about, you might not need to say where we are, just what the project all about. Maybe say some few things on where we are. We can just move to the next project. We have
Okay, for First Bank, essentially we're going to sell micro insurance, more like what we're offering with the Goxi insurance. On our end, we wanted to propose the same product, so it would just be easy to sell. It was micro insurance that covers fire, theft, health, and I think one other. Um, it was a bundled product that you pay something, a very little premium, like 500 naira. That was what we're offering for premium, and then it covers fire, theft, health, and I think hazard. I have that product somewhere. So the idea was same product offered to First Bank, and then First Bank, like I said, is actually an aggregator of insurance, and they were going to bring in Leadway Insurance to actually adopt that product. And the idea was to expand to other people, other partners of theirs, while we split percentage in terms of profit at the end of the day. Yeah, that was the idea around that product.
Okay, thank you very much, Evaristo. So let's move over to Mexico partnership social lender. But you have to say some things about that. Over to you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone.
Good
Hello,
afternoon. Obe. Yes, we
yeah,
can hear you.
good afternoon. So for these projects, so basically we partnered with Mexico in order to provide financial service for farmers and traders in rural communities based on
Hello. Hello.
I think Okpa is having some network issues. We can move over straight to Varistos quickly and then go back to him. We don't want us to waste any time.
Yeah. So I'll just take that while Okpe is struggling with his internet.
Thank you.
So Mexico was a partnership where we needed to essentially target farmers, essentially the underbanked and underserved people who are like financially excluded in Nigeria, and then offer services such as financial literacy program, and then register them for BVN bank accounts, and then ultimately onboard them on the social lender platform. And we had the target. I think we had the target of 10,000 farmers minimum, and that was what that partnership was about. And status is it's ongoing. We're like in the final stage of that project. We're currently closing out on the final report for submission to the Mexico team. So yeah, that's the status of and a brief summary of what that project was about.
Okay, thank you, Evaristus. The next project is Zenith Bank. Evaristus, that's still on you.
Yeah, so Zenith Bank was also a partnership between ourselves and Zenith Bank where we were going to partner with them to provide open bank accounts. They were going to also give us terminals for POS where we could actually leverage our agency network and offer POS services, and then wallet service where we were going to where you could actually more or less like have money stored and then transferred from one person to another. I think it was the number of products we're going to like push through the partnership with Zenith Bank, but I think the most was the account opening, POS terminal, and I can I'm missing it, but it was a product around something like that. Yeah. Conversation had gone to the point where we needed to start integration. We had closed out on the business negotiations and all the gray areas. Then at the point of integration, Zenith Bank set up a team, Microsoft Teams accounts where we were all technical members from our end were required to join in. And then that was where technical conversations, APIs, and all that for integration was going to be shared. And sadly, from our end, our technical guys actually didn't join in. I didn't join in that Microsoft Teams group to push forward that project. So that was why I actually wrote in the status of that project that it was paused, because I think the project slowed down or essentially paused because of inactivity from our end. Yeah, that's the essential summary of Zenibak project.
Okay, thank you. EcoBank integration. Are you speaking on that? Or
I'll speak on this as well. So Zenibak was also partnership where we were going to have access to BVN registration. I think wallet service for account opening and a couple of other services that we had discussed with them in the SLA. I can't really pick all. And this one we had moved to the point of integration. APIs were shared. And the last I remember is that we needed, I think, destination bank code. Imawelogo will be in the best of place. I don't know if we had gone past that stage, but we needed bank codes to run tests based on the integration we did from our end. And EcoBank were not forthcoming with those requirements. And I think that was where conversation just broke down at that point. So I don't know if Emmanuel has a lot more to speak on this partnership, because it was purely technical conversation at some point. We had gone to integration.
okay, Emmanuel Ogo, are you there? Hello, Emmanuel Ogo. Are you saying one or two things? All right, let's we go back to the next one. Okay, insurance project. Right?
Yeah, Goxie Insurance. Sadly, I actually feel very sad when I look at this. Yeah, Emmanuel.
Emmanuel? Yes, we can hear you, Emmanuel. Sorry about that, Versus. Emmanuel, we can hear you. Hello. Okay, Versus can continue.
Okay, so Goxie was Goxie is actually an insurance company. Like I said, they were like the first partners we had for insurance. It was micro insurance, a bundle product that offered that premium was quite low, and then we're covering health, fire, theft, and a number of other, like I think it was 5 products bundled together in one. And sadly, this integration was done, and we just kept testing, and then we had finished everything to the point of repayment and premium payment, premium resubscription, and I think everything we had finished integration. And then it was at the point of testing. There were a few bugs discovered here and there, and we kept going back and forth fixing those bugs. And then the entire project just got stalled. And then secondly, another thing that affected the Goxie Insurance project was at the point of migration. I think we had migrated from, not quite sure if it's Azure to AWS or AWS to Azure, but it was one of those services we had migrated from one to the other. And then the system had broken, and we had been struggling with those fixes. But then at the end of the year, my conversation with Adeyinka, we had finished fixing some of the broken areas, and we just needed to run like regression tests or some end-to-end tests to ensure that the system works fine. So that's actually the status of the Goxie Insurance project. So yeah, I'd say it's ongoing, and yeah, the comment I left there is what it is.
Okay, thank you. OCP project.
So OCP was a partnership between we and OCP. We were going to leverage, the idea was to leverage OCP locations. They actually have one-stop shop across different states within the northern part of the country, and we're going to leverage these locations and go offer some of the services, if not most of the services we have. And we're going to leverage our store officers who are going to work as either social lender influencers or social lender ambassadors per se, right? The idea was to partner with them and then go take advantage of the one-stop shop locations, and then offer our services like BVN registration, financial literacies. I mean, they had a pool of farmers we were going to work with and offer most of the services. For the OCP project, it's actually been ongoing. As a matter of fact, for us to be successful with the Mexico project, we actually had leveraged the Mexico location, and all we need to do is actually expand and take advantage of every other location. By the end of the year 2022, we had a meeting with the OCP team as regards expansion and improving the synergy between both teams. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Doctoral project.
Yeah, Doctora was a partnership between we and I think it was a health startup. Essentially, you could go to Doctora platform and then request for health services such as maybe consult a doctor or get prescription. But then the issue was that they wanted to partner with social lender such that at the point of payment, you would check out, and one of the checkout options would take you to social lender, and then you could pay by taking loans from our system, and then it would disburse to the doctoral system. But then at the point where we were discussing the business part of the conversation between myself, Mr. Moody, and the doctoral team, we thought it wasn't beneficial. It wasn't quite a beneficial project because the entire risk was on the social lender, and we had asked the doctoral team to fund some part of the loan books, but that was where conversation broke down because they didn't want to take any risk. They just wanted us to disburse to their system, and then we were still going to be the ones chasing their customers who will come and take loans and disburse to them. So there was a back and forth, and I think they were not willing to shift grounds as regards either funding the loan book and sharing the risk, and also I think chasing the customers as well. Yeah, ensuring that customers make repayment. Those were like the gray areas Mr. Moody and myself had spotted in that conversation. So we just didn't shift ground and the conversation just stalled. So that's the status on the doctoral project.
So, I'm just looking at time before we move on to the next project so that we sort of, if you don't mind, I'm just going to take about 5-10 minutes. Hope I've not set myself. Yeah.
All right, you can go ahead.
Right, cool. So I'm just looking at time and I just want us to see how we can make the best use of the time. What I will ask is that if anyone is not familiar with any specific project, you can ask as regards that project rather than us going one by one through every single project. At least we get an idea of what Social Lender has been doing, particularly in the last year, and where we are. What I would just do is also give a bit of a framework towards the brainstorming and SWOT analysis. I'm not sure if anybody has shared the things that we need to do, but most of us were part of strategy for Beacom Dev Center last week. Tuesday last week, or was it Wednesday last week? Wednesday last week. So you probably already know. What we will need you to do is to do SWOT analysis on Social Lender and the different parts of Social Lender as I'm going to share shortly, and also some of the things that you would like to see moving forward, right? Now, in terms of Social Lender, let me share about what it is and then high level, and then I will share about how Social Lender is divided into 3 key parts: online social lender, offline social lender, and I guess social reputation. And when you're doing your SWOT analysis, we would like you to break down into those 3 key aspects: social lender offline, social lender online, and then social reputation score. And I will speak a bit more around each one of them. But let me share around the problem, first of all, that Social Lender is existing to solve. Over 50% of adult Africans lack access to formal financial services. And what we believe with Social Lender is that the main problem is trust. There's an issue around being able to ascertain whether or not you can trust these people with formal financial services. The cost of the collateral, there's no collateral for these people, and the cost to serve them is very high. And so social lender comes along with the social reputation score, a new way of ascertaining trust on people to determine whether or not you can give services to these people and whether or not they will pay back the services. Yes, social lender started as social media lender many years ago, right? But over the years, we discovered that there's a bigger community out there, which are people who are offline. And if you want to measure it with Nigeria, you will find that there are over 100 million adults in Nigeria. I mean, they tell us our population is 200 million. We don't really have a census per se, but in Nigeria alone, there are at least 100 million adults. If you check online on NIBS and CBN data, you will find that they have less than 50 million unique BVNs as at August last year, which is the last time we have data for. So 100 million adults, 50 million BVN. Do you know anybody in your life that doesn't have a BVN? You'll probably say no, right? But the truth is that the unique BVNs that exist in Nigeria today is less than 50 million, right? What that tells you is that there are 50 million adults out there in Nigeria alone that lack access to formal financial services, particularly those that require BVN. Apologies, I have someone at the door. I'll be right back.
While Bade is at it, can we have minutes? So maybe, okay, if you can do minutes of this, I mean, of the entire thing, it'll be, obviously there are some breakout sessions that you're not going to be a part of, but we can just do minutes just so that we have something to share afterwards. That'll be very beneficial.
Okay, ma'am, that's fine.
All right, apologies for that. Can I continue?
Yes, I can.
All right, then. So 50 million adults, 100 million adults, 50 million unique BVN. So that tells you something, that there's a problem, and this is just in Nigeria. If you check the data across Africa, you'll find out that there are actually about 50% of the adult population, as I said earlier. Now, the point is that there is a problem here, right? But then sometimes when we say that we are going to bank the unbanked, one of the questions that we jokingly ask nowadays is that do the unbanked actually want to be banked? Because if you are focusing on just financial inclusion, then you're causing a problem as well. Because if you are giving them a bank account and they don't use the bank account, then you haven't solved anything really. Because what we need to be focusing on is economic inclusion as well. Now, with social lender, we started as social media lender, meaning that we were focused on Facebook, Twitter, and so on for us to do the scoring, and then we were focused on lending. Over the years, what we've realized is that there's a bigger market, the offline market. And so we were able to do exactly the same thing that you are doing on the online market for the offline market. How do we do this? What I ask people is that hypothetically, if 9 people that you know and trust say to you that I am trustworthy, would you trust me? Right? Most likely answer is yes, but a few people may say, no, I can't trust you, even if 9 people that I know and I trust will trust you, right? But then we'll say, what about 99 people? If 99 people that we know and trust, that you know, that you trust, say to you that I'm trustworthy, would you trust me? Most likely, yes. The point is that at some point, there's a threshold where you will trust people because their network, their community, their engagement, and all of that points to the fact that this person is trustworthy. That is the core concept that social lender is focused on with the social reputation score. And guess what? This is how lending was done in Africa 100 years ago, 200 years ago. This is exactly how lending was done. They didn't have credit score. They didn't have digital banking. They didn't have any of those things, but people used to do lending. They would do things like, oh, I know you, I know your family, I know your reputation, and all of those kind of things. So that's social lender in terms of the core concept. Now, in terms of the SWOT analysis that you'll be doing within your breakout room, as I mentioned, there are 3 key parts that we would like you to focus on. So before the 3 key parts, something I failed to mention is social lender also stopped focusing on just lending. Over the years, we realized that there's much more that we can do with the solution. And that because lending is a significantly competitive market, particularly the online lending space, we decided to focus on other services as well, in addition to lending, even though right now we are not even doing as much lending as we would like to as an organization at the moment. So we started integrating for insurance, we started integrating for farm inputs, we started integrating things like BVN, we started integrating for bank account opening, we started integrating other services into the social lender platform to make it more robust and so on. Now, 3 key parts that we would like you to focus on. Number 1 is the online market. So like I said, 3 parts for your breakout rooms: online social lender, offline social lender, and then also social reputation score. For the offline social lender, it's probably the easiest one to describe because that's the one we have done most of the work on within the last couple of months, and maybe years as well. With the offline social lender, what we've done is that we have ambassadors and local guides. We use them to be able to onboard people because we realize that these people don't just lack access to the technology, they also lack access to the education for them to be able to use the technology. Try it. Tell somebody that doesn't know how to use a phone to say, send SMS to 30812. You think sending an SMS should be easy, but you realize that for that person, it is not easy because there's so much more that they need to do. There's a lot of education they need to do. But that education is not just about sending SMS. It's also about, okay, what is even financial literacy? Why should I use a bank account? Why should I do all of these other things? That's the offline social lender, and that's the problem that we're solving. Starting with financial literacy, go to account opening, go to BVN, go to onboarding on social lender, up until the point where they can get services on the platform. What kinds of services can they get? They can get bank accounts, they can get loans, they can get farm inputs. So fertilizer with OCP is one of the ones we're experimenting with, and then they can get insurance as well. So that's offline social lender. I would pause if anyone has any question once I talk about all 3. Second one is the online social lender. We've not focused so much on that, but the truth is that the same thing that is required by the offline market is also required by the online market. Many of us on this call do not have access to loans, maybe even insurance and many other services from our banks, because even though we are not unbanked, we are underbanked. So yes, I have access to internet. Yes, I have a smartphone, but then I still don't have access to these services that my colleagues in the West and all of that have access to. And that's what the online social lender is supposed to solve for. It's supposed to solve exact same problem, lack of access to services because of lack of a way to ascertain trust for the online market. And so this is where we actually started from social lender. We're selling social lender where students could go onto the platform. They could get access to on their Facebook, on their Twitter, on their LinkedIn, and then they get access to loans. But then there's much more that we can do with the online space. Yes, there's a lot of competition, particularly in the Lagos market, in the online space now. When social lender started, there was no branch. There was no pay later. Is that the name? Yeah, Pay Later, which is now called Carbon. There was no Piggyverse. There was really one of the first in that space in Nigeria. And many people tried to copy us. Many people failed, but then some, did much better than we are doing at the moment. But then we will start picking up as well. So that's the second one we would like you to do SWOT analysis on. Third one is now the social reputation score itself. What some of us on this call probably know, but some of us may not know, is that social lender is actually now expanding globally. Social lender is also expanding, for example, to the UK. And with the UK, we are also taking that same offering to the UK market using the social reputation score. The social reputation score being the main asset. Now, what can that do? With the migrant market in the UK, these are students that don't have credit score. We can also offer them services, and Faith and the rest of the team are actually working on getting a pilot in the UK and all of that. But aside from financial services, there's much more that the social reputation score can do. It can do things like KYC, HR, recruitment, and several other things along that line. And that's what the social reputation score itself is. And so we'd like us to do a SWOT analysis on the social reputation score, and then what else can we be looking at across those 3. So those are 3 aspects that we would like each group, right? I did say 2 breakout rooms, but I see people are dropping off and coming back in and so on. Hopefully we'll be able to do 2 solid rooms. And then we'll like 2 key things. SWOT analysis, is Chisom still on? Chisom, what else is it again? SWOT analysis, and then what you would like to see moving forward. Is there anything else? I feel like I'm missing out something. Are you there, Chisom? All right, Chisom will talk about anything else that I'm missing out, but please bear in mind that in your breakout room, we would like you to break it down to online social lender, offline social lender, and also the social reputation score. All the projects that Evaristos is going to talk about, and they've stopped sharing screen now, I would like them to share again in case there are any projects that you would like more information on before you go in your breakout room. But all the projects that they are talking about at the moment fits into one or the other of that bucket, or in some cases fits into multiple of those buckets as well. So with that being said, if anyone has any question, you can ask. And then also back to Chisom, if she's still on the call. I hope this was helpful.
Thanks.
All right, back to you, Chisom.
I think Chisom has like internet issues or something. I'm sure.
I'm not sure who is the host right now. You can make us co-host. Moody, I don't know if you want to add to the conversation and everything.
Yeah, Moody will join us shortly. He has to do something quickly.
No problem. I think it's almost time for us to go into the breakout rooms.
Mhm.
Chisom, are you there? Okay, Comfort, you're on mute if you are talking to us, but I guess, does anyone have any question before we go into the breakout room? Chisom is not able to share screen again. Any project you are not quite familiar with, anything that Bade, Faith, or anybody else has said so far on the call that you are not quite clear on, we'll be happy that you discuss it now, so that by the time you go into your breakout room, we're going with as much understanding as possible. Any question at all? Anything not clear?
I can also share screen if you want, if you make me co-host.
Okay, we can, Faith is now co-host. You can say no questions, so.
None from me.
All right, thank you. So, Madam Comfort, let's just make sure Okpa is in one room and then Evaristo is in the other room, and then we can split everybody else aside from the members of management into one or the other of the breakout room. Faith, you were going to share your screen though before that. Okay, yeah, so we have the list of projects again. Does anyone have any question on any of these projects? Anything you're not quite clear on, where it fits into the big picture, why we are talking about it? No question. You can also say no question so we can move on to the breakout rooms.
Okay, none from mine.
Okay, I have a question, sir.
Go ahead, Chisom.
So the SWOT analysis we are doing, is it based on these current projects, or are we coming up with ideas? Are we talking about just the current project for
No,
the 3 criteria?
so what I did,
Offline, online, and social reporting.
exactly. So all these projects fit into one of those 3 buckets: offline, online, social lender, or social reputation score. All the projects on this board fit into one or multiple of these buckets. So what we would like you to do, instead of trying to do SWOT analysis on each specific project, there are about 23 of them here, and that is just for 2022 alone. There's much more for years before now. is let's look at the big picture. So look at those 3 key buckets and then do SWOT analysis individually for each one of those buckets.
All right, sir.
That answers the question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there's also a project that is not here. They have, I think, just recently, it's called Tangerine. I don't know what we're going to call it, but it's social lender / Tangerine. I would suggest that we include that. They have been speaking with Evaristo so far. So Chisom, I'm just going to update that sheet. I don't know too much. The conversations surrounding that, if we go back to the sheet again, Evaristos can tell us what's happened so far, but I do know that that's missing, and that's something I was looking at.
So, well, the Tangerine project is just insurance, and I think they also have like a staff package. They were essentially trying to offer some insurance, more or less. If our customers don't make repayments, they actually pay back those loans, and there is a detailed. It was just one conversation. We're going to pick it up early this year, and I see they had sent an email, but basically they actually had a product for us around insuring our loans and a few other staff package like product they had. Yeah. But yeah, Chisom should be added there because we're going to pick up that conversation.
Okay. Please, who is helping with the breakout rooms? I'm not able to do so. Evangeline, are you able to?
Can I open it now?
Yeah, could you make it how long? 1 hour for each room? Yeah,
Okay,
1
1
hour,
hour.
and then remove the setting that says automatically disconnect people, so that way you can decide to close or not close yourself. Yeah, Okpa and advisors have access to this sheet, so if you need reference to the sheet, you can. Okay, so thank you, everyone. So 1 hour, see you back in 1 hour. What we promise is we cannot promise to implement every single thing you say during these sessions. What we can promise is that we will listen. Every member of the founding team is here, present, and is also being recorded. And so what we promise is we will listen to the presentations. Please, presentation should be on Google Slide. Thank you. It will make it easier for us to be able to merge and discuss all of these much later as well as part of this process. Thank you, everyone. See you on the other side. Please make Moody co-host as well, so you can go from room to room to listen to the conversation. Faith and I are already co-host. See you on the other side, everyone. Don't forget to make Moody co-host so you can move from room to room.
Okay, sir. Then there is no way for me to uncheck for the rooms not to close itself.
Oh, okay.
Since the countdown is on.
Okay, it's gone then. It was before you set up the room. At the point of setting up the room, there's a setting in that place where you can say automatically close room after 1 hour, but it's fine. I think 1 hour is long enough.
All right, sir.
Yeah. You want me to Faith if you're talking? Oh,
You have one unassigned participant.
who is that?
Don't know. Let's see.
It's moved now. The person has moved.
Yeah, moved.
All right, then. So the idea is just to move from room to room to just listen in, I know, during this time.
Okay.
And then we're back in about 1 hour. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, bye. Thank you.
I'm trying to call the three of you on WhatsApp. Nobody's picking up.
Actually, I'm on the call. That's why.
Okay.
And Moody had earlier said that he was in a meeting quickly.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
You can take it later.
Yeah, all right, then, too.
Hello, ma. Hello. Hello, ma. Hello, ma.
Comfort, please make me co-host though. Please, can you make me co-host? Thank you.
Buddy. Buddy.
Yeah.
I'll step out briefly. I'll just join on my phone. I want to take a look at something.
No problem. I can't stay because I have a different meeting anyway. So hopefully you'll be there because I won't be available.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll join on my phone and then leave
Okay.
my computer and then come back soon.
Are we all back? Hello, Comfort. Hello? Is anybody able to hear me?
Hello, I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you.
I was just trying to confirm if we're all back.
Yes, we are, ma.
Okay. Is Moody there?
Yes, I think everybody's back. I think.
Okay. Okay. Hi, guys. Seems like the discussions were quite intense. I had to extend the time a little bit for us to do the roundup. Sorry if you hear a bit of wind, just forgive that. Moody, do you want to take over briefly and then I can finish up, please?
All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for taking time to brainstorm. A lot of ideas came through the breakout session. I was alternating between room 1 and room 2. Okay, so I think we've done very well, generally speaking. But now we need somebody to present your strength and your weakness. I think group 1 rightfully finished first, so they will start first. So if you guys can nominate someone that will share the screen and take us through what you guys thought was our strength, our weaknesses, and your projections that was discussed. I think 10 minutes will be enough for each group to go through their strength and weakness, their SWOT analysis. Is that fair? 10 minutes, is it fair?
Yeah, 10 minutes is okay. Maybe even less.
All right. So group 1.
Yes, I think
someone that is not Evaristos, please. Evaristos talks about Australia every day.
Okay.
Thank you. And also group 2, someone that is not Okpe, please.
Chisom, I think you should drive it at this point. Chisom, are you there?
Hello, I won't be able to share screen. That's the issue now.
Okay, I can share
screen, and anybody can talk over the.
Yeah, I can share screen while you.
Okay, please, Evaristos, please share screen and.
Can everybody see my screen?
I can.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Chisom.
Okay, this is the one social lender strategy meeting 2023. Next slide. So we were able to state out, we differentiated the projects to online, offline, and social reputation score project. So for the online, we have Doctora, FCMB, social lender web platform, technology, social lender device, social lender WhatsApp, and SMS Fair Player, daily social media posts, social lender customer support, social lender conversation log, Stanbic IPTC, FCMB, bad debtors, and so on. Next slide, please. So for the social lender online, we came up with some strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threat. So for strength, banking institution, bank/institution partnerships. That's one of our strengths in terms of the online social lender, existing customer base and disbursement metrics. For the weaknesses, we have technical debt, existing system architecture. This is one of the weaknesses we have in terms of online. We have dependence on external like social data, branding, the weakness, terrible user experience, the weakness, zero customer support structure, poor technical support structure. Then for opportunities, we have student markets. This is focus on marketing to students, starting loan amount range, their appeals to their like starting loan amount in a range that will appeal to their demography. Then for threats, we have financial laws and regulation. This is big threat. We have a product feature overload. This is feature overload speaks to us adding too many features on the application and it is affecting the stability. This is a major threat. Poor response from some product initiation stage. Yeah, during the some initiation stage, usually we have projects that the response from our partners are poor due to maybe the fact that they are not yielding, or maybe they are trying to go against like project the project in a way that it would favor them and not favor us. So at times some projects like that, they are poor responses, and most of some of those projects are either false or stupid. Ability to map or verify customers' location. Yeah, we have some. If a customer is outside the country, how are we able to map out the location? This is the threat. This is the threat. Let's like it. So for the offline projects, we have OCP projects, Terragon, Mexico, Buying, Kano office, Kano location office, Kaduna location office, FCMB, sorry, First Bank, and Commoner projects. Next slide. So for the strengths, we have solid market share. Yes, that's the major strength. We have agency network to drive sales and expansion. That's already business model. For our weaknesses, we have poor reputation within existing customers. Community sensitization being done instead of financial literacy. This has been a major weakness we're having, especially for in trying to manage our ambassador activities and all that. Zero customer support structure, terrible user experience, poor management of field operations, yes, untimely fund disbursements, lack of adequate working equipment. That's a very big risk. Opportunity, access to many unbanked persons in the rural area like the north. Yes, we have that. Yeah. Untapped offline market, tools to manage ambassador activities and make them accountable. Yes, if we can make that available, to go a long way. Threats, customers not acknowledging that onboarding activities were carried out because it wasn't done properly. This often affects our audit when we try to audit performance and all. And if they are not able to acknowledge that some activities were carried out at the limitations, go against the goal of the project. So the project will be met at the end. Next slide, please. So for the social lender social reputation score, so we didn't get to list out the social reputation score because the offline projects and the online projects, most of them can also be stated into the social reputation score. So we're going to need to start listing that out again. That will be repetition. So the strengths, availability of an existing social reputation score system as a benchmark for improvement. Yes, we have that. That's a good strength. Weakness, basis for social reputation score generation seems inaccurate. That's a major weakness. Opportunity, African expansion with the existing system. Threat, other companies have a more reliable social reputation system. That's true. Thank you. Question.
Thank you, Chisom. Good one, good thought. Leave your slide up. Evaristos, leave your slide up for now. Right, do we have any question? I have a question, but does anybody have a question? If you can go to your opportunities, right, you listed just one opportunity. There's one you said, social reputation score, yeah. African expansion with the existing system. Is that the only opportunities that we see with social reputation score? And what is the definition of African expansion? Right, if you can give more context to that.
Can I jump in here?
Yeah, please.
The slide, the Google Doc.
I can't hear face. So my question was around weakness and opportunities. Basis for social reputation score generation seems inaccurate. Can you unpack that statement? Right. Hi, Faith, are you still here?
Yeah, I was trying to say that. Can I also have a link to the doc?
We didn't hear that, man.
Can you share me the link to the document as well?
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
All right, that's for both team, right?
I have a for Okpai's team, but I don't have a Chisom's team.
All right, Chisom, can you guys send an email invite?
Maybe I'll call you back. I have a call.
All right. Okay. Why that has been done? Why Faith has been added? Can somebody unpack the weakness and opportunity for us?
So I was going to respond to that. Opportunity, African expansion with existing system. I think at the moment, access to loan, especially for the kind of market which we're targeting, I don't think social reputation score within other African countries is actually a thing. I mean, I can speak to some countries within Africa, and I've been there. I don't think it's really a thing. Like I said, especially in the target market. So if we can see how we can expand and push social lender with social reputation as the main assets to other African countries, I think it will be a good sell for other countries. That's actually what we implied by African expansion with the existing system. Even when we think it's not so accurate, the way this score is actually being generated is not so accurate. So the second question was on weakness, basis for social reputation score. Can everybody hear me? Hope I'm not speaking to myself.
Yes, you can.
Okay. So the second question was on the basis for social reputation score generation seems inaccurate. I think, so how do we generate social reputation score? That's the first question for a typical offline market. For a typical offline user, you come on the system, you create an account, and you just input some information. I think provide guarantor and all that, and then I think the system, please, I might be wrong, but then the technology guys can correct me, would just there's a base social reputation score that once you create an account and then enter guarantor and all that, right? I don't think it's a really accurate way of assigning social reputation score, because I can be a fraudulent person and arrange with a number of people who I would just come and impute all those information that is required of me, and then have like a solid social reputation score that allows me to have access to either insurance or loan or whatever. But I think if there's a way we can actually brainstorm and come up with a more solid way of assigning social reputation score based on actual maybe social reputation, I doubt that the offline market leverages on like social media interaction, unlike the offline market that leverages on social media interaction to actually even assign social reputation score. So I'm thinking if there's a way to actually tell to an offline user's reputation before it's a better way to tell that speaks to the social reputation of an offline user before a score is actually being assigned that allows the user to access loans or what other services that we have on the system. It would really be good. A more that maybe leverages on a lot more metrics that are very, very, I'm looking for the right word.
Yeah. So what you have said, what you are describing and what you have written as weakness, they are two different things, right? You are saying the metrics that we are getting, that we are, is not solid enough. But what your weakness says is the basis for social reputation score generation. Same thing inaccurate. The basis for social reputation score is that you don't have access to formal financial credit. We need to audit you to see, what is your credit score? What is your credit rating? How well can we trust you? Can you manage a small loan? Do you have inflow? Do you have network around you? That's the basis for social reputation score. Now you're talking about your weakness is what you are defining is more of the metrics that we are taking. So that's why.
So I think.
Yeah, that's.
So I think it's a rewarding issue.
Yeah.
Maybe
I think it's one person. Yeah. Metrics for social.
And I want everybody to be as honest as possible. That's the essence. That's when this will be valuable to us. Be as blunt as possible, be honest as possible, and we will take it as feedback. And we are also learning here.
Okay. So I don't know if we've answered all your questions, sir.
I'm now stressed. When you say other companies have more reliable reputation system, are we talking about banks? Are we talking about startups, fintechs?
Fintechs, precisely. I'd reference. I think Kuda has a reputation score thing. The basis.
Can you put the example on that? Like Kuda, like you mentioned. Yeah. Examples, startups like Kuda or fintechs like Kuda.
Fintechs like Kuda.
So maybe I should add something here. It might be valuable to also understand what Kuda is doing. I do know Kuda personally, and I know some of the things that happen within the bank. I know how much loss they have made. So if we have a bit of insight as to what their scorecard looks like and what kind of metrics they are looking at, it might give us an understanding of what, or if I reached us, if you had a bit of insight into that, it might give us a bit of, it might shed a bit of light into what you're saying.
Yeah, so I was going to explain how Kuda assigns. Kuda has an overdraft system that you don't necessarily need to have an existing money within the bank, but then you can take an overdraft. But then it actually first, before you have access to the first overdraft, it depends on how much I think it's like 10% of either your highest ever deposit in the bank, right? Either 10% or 5% of your highest deposit in the bank is what allow you access to the overdraft. But then when you pay back the first overdraft you take, a certain credit score is assigned to you. Now, if you keep taking overdrafts or taking loans and paying back, your reposition score or your credit score increases. So I think that is rather based on pure credit performance. And for me, I think that's a lot more reliable because they can actually measure you're actually being assigned a score, or your score improves based on how you take an overdraft or take a loan and then pay back your repayment rates. That is what defines I think theirs is credit score. That's what they call it. So I think it's a lot more.
So essentially what you are saying is that they have a zero score for a
Zero
customer.
score. Yes.
And then when the customer, based on the customer's, based on the customer's performance, then the customer's score starts to go higher. You do know that with social lender, the more you come back, so you don't get you get a base score for regular details that you put into the system and your friends and chores and things like that. But when you start to take loans, it also improves your score. Do you know that's available on social lender?
Yes, ma, I know that. But my concern is the initial score that is actually being assigned to a customer that allows you access to credit itself. I think that's where the problem is. The first score, the initial score you get, is where my concerns are. Yeah.
I understand you now.
I would say, Bade, I'll just say the feedback is well received, right? I would just also mention, as I think Faith or Moody mentioned earlier, Kuda has over 50% bad debt at the moment, right? I mean, 50% of the amount they've sent out at the moment. So we'll just need to marry that with the feedback gotten. But the fact that our social reputation score system is broken and isn't doing exactly what we say it is, what it should be doing, feedback well taken. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Group 1. Any other question for group 1 before we jump to group 2? All right, good work, good work. Who is presenting for group 2? Group 2, okay, and is Collins back? Okay, are you here?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. Somebody else that is not where has to present. So who is presenting for group 2?
Somebody is sharing screen for them already. At least I can see somebody's screen.
No. Okay, you're mute. Is it Mohammed? How do I pronounce your name?
Yeah, it's Mohammed.
Okay, hi Mohammed. Do you want to take us through what you guys did in group 2?
All right. Okay. So my name is Mohammed, and I'll be walking us through what we discussed basically in group 2. So we had a SWOT analysis on the 3 different key objectives, one of which is the social lender offline users. Second is the online users, and as well the social reputation score. So I'll be starting off with the social lender offline users. So part of the strengths we highlighted for the social lender offline users is that there's access to financial services based on social reputation score. So offline users are rest assured that they have access to services based off the reputation score we get from them, basically. So moving forward, that was one of the strengths that we did highlight. So moving forward, we also have some of the weaknesses as well for offline users. So one of the weaknesses was that there's onboarded members has little ways to remember social lender in the future. So why this is because we had questions around what happens if I am an offline user and somebody from social lender comes to me in my remote location and says, okay, there's social lender going on, it gives loans, it gives insurance and all of those. So it's more like a sensitization for that particular person. Remember that this particular person at this point in time does not have, or we are yet to ascertain this person's interest in either going on a social lender as his next insurance company or not. So the question here is, once we sensitize people and we go off, what is the risk reward in that? The risk basically is that, oh, we are not sure if this person is going to patronize social lender. But the rewards basically is that, oh, we get their information, they get registered, and we practically have potential data about these people. So while they don't get to patronize this particular solution, what are the ways they tend to remember social lender? So if that particular person then becomes interested in social lender after 2 years or a year, how does this person remember social lender, basically? So that's the weakness. And we also have language barriers. We are obviously reaching out to people from different demography. How do we factor in language in how we reach out to them? And the last weakness we have is no access to loan or insurance for onboarded users, basically. So onboarded users, find it at some point difficult to access loan and insurance, despite the fact that we have social lender as a solution, basically. So I think last but not the least, we have a particular weakness, which is we tend to collect more information from offline users to get better understanding and patterns of users, that will be a potential customer. So I think the system already does that, as we tend to register people on to the platform, despite the fact that they might be interested or might not be interested in social lender. So, but the question here, or what we are posing is, how do we get a better understanding of these users and their potentials to, actually patronize the products in the future? So we'll be moving on to the opportunities we as well discussed. One of the opportunities that there's financial literacy session, for underbanked users in rural areas, right? It enables us to, properly spread the words about financial literacy to people that are uneducated, basically. So we also have larger percentage of people with no access to financial services in rural areas. So with this initiative, it enables us to, access larger percentage of the offline market. Moving forward, we have just the threats we identified with the offline users, and one of which is that there's no access to financial service to those in core rural communities. So core rural communities, we mean communities that are like literally out of reach, deep core communities within a state where you have little or even no form of this literacy, basically, So it's a threat because we could identify some markets at that end, basically. So those are basically some of the strengths, the weaknesses, and as well the opportunities and threats we did brainstorm about, and as well identified for the online users. So for the offline users, So for the online users, I'll be starting off with some of the weaknesses we had identified. So for online users, we identified that there's a tedious onboarding process. And this has come with various feedback, obviously, that has been gotten from people interacting with the platform, basically. You tend to register, you tend to do X, Y, Z for you to get, to that point where you are being disbursed a loan. And this onboarding process might seem tedious to a lot of people, one of which we did discuss about experiences some individuals have had with different loaning platforms. And those experiences has actually shown us that, for individuals to effectively patronize your platform, they need to have a seamless onboarding process, basically. So that was identified as one of the weaknesses. Then we also have one-on-one customer interaction with service owner. Scenarios times where individuals run into troubles with onboarding or probably how to navigate within the platform. How do they even have like a one-on-one customer interaction, swift one-on-one customer interaction, basically with the service owner. So we also have the online perception of the brand itself, basically. Part of the things that enables people to make use of your platform is the perception of the brand itself. And so it's a weakness, as we had observed at some point that there's a low online perception of the brand itself. We'll be talking about some of the ideal solutions we had come up with for these particular weaknesses I'm talking about. So moving forward, we also have one as a weakness, improving the reputation score as part of loyalty reward for using Social Lender. So reputation score as part of loyalty reward for using Social Lender has a low traction, basically. So obviously we have a low traction in the reputation score as part of the loyalty reward for individuals using Social Lender. We also talk about language barrier as well. There are some suggestions as to why this is a weakness. For better navigation, they would suggest that we include languages, diverse languages to the platform so that people who don't have such barriers are moving forward. Then there's also a weakness of non-intuitive user interface for the app. Basically, this was highlighted as part of the things that might affect the user perception of the particular platform. So we discovered that navigating through the app might be non-intuitive to a user at some point, basically. And we also have no access to loan or insurance, for onboarded users. So currently as it stands, it's quite difficult for an individual to actually access loan or insurance, which is the primary objective of this particular platform, to be able to disburse all of this or to render all of these services basically. So if this is not available, it might as well scare away users that periodically come onto the platform to either register or to even check it out. If they can't access loan seamlessly or insurance, these are part of the weaknesses that online users, might face moving forward. And part of the strengths, I highlighted some of them while talking about the weaknesses, is it has a strength of access to formal financial services, right? So people can then access financial services. It also have multiple social media login options into social lender platforms. So as somebody that is coming up to social lender to access a loan or insurance, they are rest assured that since it's based off a scoring system, a social media scoring system, it's available for them to log in or be on the platform using multiple social media platforms. So as a user, I have no reputation on LinkedIn, Twitter, or Facebook, I'm rest assured that I'm coming onto the platform with these 3 social media platforms, I'm rest assured that I would have higher chances of getting higher loans, basically. Moving forward, we have some of the opportunities as well, right? So some of the opportunities we have for this, basically. So just like we made mention of difficulties in the people or customers face when they run into troubles and try to talk one-on-one to a customer service. Part of the opportunities we see is, or I would consider these as the ideas we'd like to see being implemented moving forward, is the automation of this particular customer service procedure, basically. Not necessarily taking out the fact that these customer service procedures can be integrated, could have alongside human agents as well. So we all know what customer service management is in modern technology. We've seen how vast technology has been able to revolutionize the customer service management, basically. So we don't have situations where we need to spend more money on human resource. We don't have situations where, we tend to bother about how available our customer service is. We now have automation systems that enables that seamlessly, basically. So part of the opportunities we could have, and as well suggestions moving forward. We also have the tedious onboarding process. So part of the ideas we have basically is just to optimize the onboarding process and make it, concise and seamless as possible, as this will actually improve the user experience that's trying to get a loan at that particular point in time. And we also talked about the user non-intuitive user interface for the app as part of the weaknesses. So part of the ideas basically is for us to have a holistic review on what the user experience is, or the user interactivity is with the particular platform. So having a review of the user interactivity and as well the user experience of this particular platform can then project to see how well is this platform going to be perceived by individuals right? I think that's a very crucial thing to look out for. More like a project or a product management thing, basically. Then we also talked about language barrier, what situations where users can navigate between languages for them to better use the platform, basically. So those are part of the weaknesses and as well the strengths, opportunities, and ideas we have regarding the online users of Social Lender. So moving on, we'll be talking about some of the things we also highlighted for the social reputation score, basically. So for the social reputation score, one of the opportunities that we did highlight is that customers with a high social reputation score have access to more financial services, just like I highlighted in as one of the opportunities with the online users as well. So for the social reputation score, as customers tend to take more loans, be more, have more reputation on the social media platforms, they tend to have higher scores, which give them more access to financial services, basically. So moving forward, we also have some of the threats for this particular social reputation score. And one of the threats is that companies with larger resource, could actually explore and dominate the domain of the credit scoring, basically. So in situations where we have competitors with similar ideas, they could harness on this, with their larger resources and even make it better than what we do. So it's just more like a wake-up call for us to, optimize the solution as with feedbacks and all of those to make it better, basically. And we also have recommendations, basically. So recommendations, just like I mentioned earlier, one is that we have, okay, these are recommendations rather that are relating to the offline users that I failed to mention. So one of which is in situations where we are not so sure of what a particular offline user, or we are not sure if a particular offline user is going to patronize Social Lender, how do we then, place sort of a reminder as to Social Lender? So I gave a scenario of if an offline user decides to use Social Lender after 1 year of sensitization, so how do we make sure of that? So there's suggestions around, having, reminder, probably stickers or all of those on different household, just like we see other solutions doing, more like maybe MTN, DSTV, and all of those. When they go to remote areas, what they do, and they sort of partner with household and tell them that, okay, as part of the things they do, they are going to reward them either a DSTV decoder, or they have another option of probably painting their house with DSTV logos and giving them 10,000 naira incentive, I think. That was something that happened in my village at the time. So yeah, so those are recommendations. And as well, just like I explained again, to revamp the apps, basically. So user perception to these platforms or apps, very crucial, at least just to give the first impression, basically. We feel that the social reputation score is an ideal scoring system, so they are not really so much of a weakness to that, basically, for now, or from our end, basically. Thank you very much. So those are some of the strengths.
Thank you. That was good. That was very detailed. Took longer than 10 minutes though, but thank you very much. Questions? Do you have any question for group 2?
So I have a question. They seem to be advocating that we should focus on the online markets and not the offline markets. That seems to be one of the advocacy, because the offline market is very difficult and low profits. That seems to be the drive. My question is, given the current state of the online lending markets in Nigeria, do you see an opportunity for social lender at this stage?
Yeah, so absolutely. For looking at the current status of lending platforms or the lending market basically in Nigeria today, yes, there's an opportunity for social lender, because I feel the credit system or the scoring system is quite unique, and I feel people need to know more about that, because most times people, I have experience with lending platforms. Basically, I've hopped on probably more than 20 lending systems at some points previously in the past, and I know what it is, or what, as an end user, what I feel fulfilled about when I hop on a particular platform, basically. So one is I want a seamless operation, basically, or process. And that seamless operation is I should be able to register and immediately get onto the loan as quick as possible. Secondly, quick disbursement. I should be able to get disbursement when I'm being approved the loan as fast as 1 minute. And the third thing as well, I should have, seamless operation when it comes to repayment, basically. And other things I also want as an end user is to have an appealing website that's quite user interactive and as well gives me a better user experience, basically. And moving forward, most credit system I have experience is that how I tend to measure my score, basically. I don't know what they call it, but sometimes at intervals when they see you loan frequently, they tend to increase your lending amounts, basically, or your loan amounts, basically. So they do that by, most of the time, they do that by the amount of seamless repayment you've done. So, or on-time repayment you've done, lower default dates and all of those, basically. But with the credits, with this particular social lender scoring system, I feel it's going to improve that, basically, because all of these lending platforms don't actually show individuals their score. They don't show them how well they've performed with their loaning system, their loaning attitude, basically, or their loaning, or their loans, basically. They don't show them. So people don't know. You just get notification that, oh, okay, your loan amount has been increased by 10,000 naira, you can now loan 20,000 naira. It can be increased by 20,000, you can now loan 50,000 naira, basically. So, but with this system, I feel people would be aware that, oh, okay, these are things I need to do to increase my score. This is my score at the moment. Because sometimes as a user, I can say for sure that when I come on to a particular platform, and in my mind, I need 20,000 naira, and all of a sudden I'm seeing a platform just recommending them to give me 35, and I'm like, but why? I don't know why. And it gets me discouraged, because at that moment I'm in a financial disaster that I need more than that. So how do I go about that? But I have a score that's been displayed to me initially at the moment I get onboarded. Yes, I'll be encouraged to get my guarantors on social media. Oh, I have a Twitter account that is booming and I have sort of reputation on Twitter. Let me use my Twitter and improve my chances of getting a loan, basically. So I think yes, it's viable.
Thank you for that. I have a general question for the two groups, but I guess let's finish the question for group 2 first.
Yeah. Any more question? Group 1, you can ask group 2 question, and it's not a competition. We're learning from each other. Mohammed, if you can scroll up your slide so that people are reminded of the things you talked about. When you said no KYC, please, what were you, can you go back to that slide?
Oh, okay.
Strength,
Yeah.
no KYC, threat, no KYC. Well,
Yeah, so
yeah, speak to this briefly,
yeah,
please.
briefly, okay, I omitted that. So KYC just some of the threats for online users is that no proper KYC is for users being onboarded. So that could pose as a threat basically for online users.
Can you add the word proper to your statement? No proper KYC.
Yeah. Okay.
So KYC is
Also,
not your cost. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So also to add to what Mr. Bade asked, I think one of the reasons why I think social media will survive with online users is, for now, I think we have the best interest rates, yes, on our loans compared to all other loan companies. The interest is crazy. I am even shocked when I see the interest rate of social lender on 5,000, 10,000, and the payment and the repayment date is so big compared to other companies. So I think these are one of the things that will give us edge on the online users. Also, if we can work more on our mobile apps, if we can make it more accessible for the online users compared to the web platform we have, if our mobile apps is sustainable as well, that also will give us an edge for the online users.
Okay. So just so
Sorry, this is going on already. Let me just ask my question. So here's my question. I understand the feedback on the online and offline user. Question I have is, will the offline social lender work? Will the ambassador operation work? That's my question for the two groups. Okwem, you were talking already, so I'll start with you.
Yes, it is, and it will work. We just need to probably get a reliable USSD short code we can use and that will be sustainable. If those that don't have access to internet can get loan or insurance through this short code, I think they also can feel involved in our services. And with this, I think we can sustain our offline users as long as they have the channel and the means to access our services. We just need to get a reliable platform or reliable network provider that can sustain us for a longer period.
My follow-on question is, what modification do we need to the ambassador operation? And then why have we not gotten one perfect user? I'm aware that Okwemi and Evaristos are clear on what I mean by a perfect user. Why have we not gotten one perfect user? Because yes, we've given the feedback to say it's difficult to be able to reach these people later. It's difficult for these people to remember us and all of that. And that's part of what was built in terms of the ambassador process for us to get good users that we can always reach and all of that. So 2 questions as I have to step out now. What modifications should we be looking at for the ambassador operation? And then why haven't we gotten one perfect user? I'll play first and then we'll go to Evaristos as well.
For the ambassador operation, I think right now the operation is okay from my own point of view. And the reason why we haven't gotten one perfect user is that user has not taken loan. or any form of service on our platform. Fine, we've onboard, we've registered BVN, we've opened accounts, but that user is yet to access any of our services.
Okay. Evaristos?
Please, I'm driving. I cannot continue right now.
All right.
Okay, I have something to say.
Go ahead.
Okay, concerning offline users, I think we need to find a way to reach our user, apart from the ambassador. That maybe some other banks are, for example, are offering loan services, and they used to reach out to customers by maybe SMS to say maybe, for example, if you want to for a recharge card or airtime in form of a loan, when you have maybe a GT Bank account or any other bank, there's a short code they used to send a message to use. So that reach out to the customer base of existing bank customers, and they don't have to have internet to get a reminder of the service. Unlike the ambassador strategy we are trying to use, I don't know if you can. I don't know what is it for us to maybe partner with some of the existing maybe a financial system in this kind of partnership to say, okay, can we offer loan service or other service we are offering to the existing customers by giving access to their maybe database so that we can reach out to the existing customers who may be a potential customers to our service too.
Fantastic, Adenka. I'm conscious of time. Chisom, how many more minutes do we have? I'm conscious of time. But Adenka, you're in group 1, right?
Yes.
Can you add that thought as part of the recommendation on group 1 slide so that we don't lose it?
Okay.
Yeah, just please help us add that to recommendations on your Google Doc slide.
All right.
Chisom, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Just that my device will go.
How many more minutes do we have for this session?
This meeting is supposed to end by 6, so we are past spent the time.
All right.
We are out of time already. So we can say we have 6 minutes more or 5 minutes more.
We have 5 more minutes. Anybody wants to give a general, anything that came to mind that we did not put, that the team did not talk about, that you want to share just like Adenka has done? Okay,
can I say something?
Please go ahead.
Okay, another thing that we might want to do for the offline users is we need to properly do a proper orientation for the ambassadors, offline ambassadors, because we found out that these persons are not doing what they are supposed to do. Like, they don't know what it takes, they don't know how to do a proper financial literacy. We need to make them feel like they are working for social lender, not like they're working for maybe a project manager in the location. Yeah, if we can do that, it will go a long way. But we found out that when we try to do the performance audit, yes, there were pictures, there were videos, but when we try to find out, does these users know who social lender is? Can they even remember that there was someone, some persons from social lender came and they did 1 or 2 things for them? They don't. So I feel they're not telling them what they're supposed to tell them, and they're not, I think that's because they're not properly oriented.
Ambassador training, please add to the recommendation, ambassador training and retraining, continuous learning process for ambassadors and local guide. All right. Any other thoughts? Any suggestion, anything we're not doing right? We are still searching for our perfect user. I know Kweyemi thinks we have one already, but I haven't seen that one because the person hasn't engaged the system, hasn't taken it, taken a loan, repaid back a loan, or taking an insurance cover. So I'm yet to see one perfect user. So on the journey to that perfect user, what should we be looking out for, guys? We have 4 more minutes. All right.
None from my end, actually.
None from your end. Okay, cool. Fantastic. So we're going to have follow-up sessions to this session, and we're going to try to do it as frequent as we can, right? Just to get a feel and a pulse and come back to the team on what was decided and some of the feedback that we have gotten, right? From this session. This session has been very useful. It has helped me also know, the team members' understanding of the products, where the product is, and what we should be focusing on. Internally, I think we should do more training. We should get more familiar with our products internally. Then we can communicate that externally also. That's one of my takeaway from this session. All right. So thank you everyone for contributing. Thank you.
Yes,
for the
yes,
session.
yes.
All right, Madam CEO is around.
Maybe yeah, it's just that
Yeah.
I'm a little. I just feel a bit overwhelmed because it seems to me that I see two major gaps. One being that there's a lot of work to be done, and the other is what you just mentioned, which is the fact that we need to be more familiar with the product. So there are some repetitions, there are some things I expect that we already know, but some of us don't know. And so we're just describing what we wanted to do with Social Lender from start that we've already implemented. Have we implemented it successfully? No. And then I'm going to use this opportunity to beg people like Mohammed, Adeinka. I am begging you guys, we need speed this year. Obviously, there's a lot of implementation that is going to be done. And one of the major focuses for me would be that we make sure that GOXI goes live immediately, whatever needs to be done. I will beg somebody like, is he still on the call? I am not sure. No, he's not on the call. But anyways, Moody has said it already. By my own bit is that this has been very, very insightful. Yes, I agree with Moody. We should do this more often. So all the very best, and Moody, over to you. But most importantly, let's just drive things with speed. And let's start implementing a lot of these recommendations.
All right. Thank you, Madam CEO. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. A couple of you owe me something. Evaristos and Okpe asked for Mexico final reports. I'm still looking at the Google Doc, and I'm not seeing the addition or the subtraction. I'm not seeing what you guys are doing. Please, somebody should get back to me on what is going on. Why is there a delay? If there's something else that we need to do, please let me know. I thought it's just to do a screen grab and attach to the Google Doc, but I see that it's going too slow. It's kind of slow, right? Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Apologies, we shot this with over an hour. We spent too much time on the breakout session, but it was useful. It was useful. The feedback has been good. And we will be coming around and sharing information as to next step and when we'll be having another session or a follow-up session to this. All right. Do have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you. And it's nice to meet you, Mohammed. I haven't seen you in person.
Nice to meet you.
Mohammed, welcome to the team.
Welcome to the team. It's great to have you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Cool.
All right.
All right, people.
Bye, guys.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Get some rest. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
All right. Good night.